child lies motionless beneath firelight. His skin burns. Each breath shudders through him like something breaking. The night around him is thick with smoke and the smell of earth and the quiet terror of people who don't know what will happen by morning. His mother kneels beside him. She brushes damp hair from his forehead, her hand trembling slightly. Then, another figure moves into the light. The tribe's healer, though she wouldn't call herself that. She carries bark stripped from a tree and a small pouch of honey gathered from wild nests. She doesn't speak. She crushes the bark between her fingers, scoops honey with her thumb, mixes them together. The paste is crude, uncertain, but she presses it against the boy's chest anyway, trusting something older than words, a memory passed down from hands that are now dust. This is where medicine begins. And hope. Healing didn't start in hospitals. It started like this: a sick child, a desperate parent, someone trying anything that might work. Before settled villages, before written language, humans lived in a world that offered little protection. Illness came suddenly. A wound could fester and turn lethal. A fever could kill a child overnight. Every scratch carried risk. So people turned to the one thing they had: nature. They had no concept of medicine. They just had bodies that hurt, and a world full of plants they didn't understand. But they weren't learning alone. Picture a hunter with a gashed thigh, watching a boar roll in mud mixed with crushed plants. The animal is doing something deliberate. The hunter tries it himself. Days later, his injury closes instead of rotting. That's a discovery worth remembering. This is how humans learned: by watching. Not by theorizing, but by copying what worked and remembering what didn't. Certain plants eased pain. Others made you vomit. Some seemed to have power beyond explanation. People learned to mash leaves, grind roots, soak bark until its strength seeped out. Boiling transformed harsh plants into something tolerable. Fire became a laboratory before anyone knew what a laboratory was. Somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, someone chewed willow bark. It tasted awful. But afterward, their pain dulled. They told someone else. More people tried it. The pattern held. Willow bark worked. Millennia later, we'd call the active ingredient salicin. We'd synthesize it into aspirin. But the discovery came first, passed from person to person, long before anyone could write it down. Honey wasn't just food. When smeared on wounds, it kept them from rotting. Flies avoided it. The flesh stayed fresh. People didn't understand why. They just knew it worked. Garlic stung when applied to cuts, but then swelling went down. Fewer infections. Fewer deaths. These discoveries happened everywhere, independently. A woman notices a leaf soothes her child's rash. A forager finds a root that stops cramps. Travelers burn resinous branches and realize the smoke clears their lungs. Small moments, easy to forget without a way to write them down. Memory became everything. In most societies, women did the gathering. They had to know which plants were safe and which would kill you. They tracked when plants bloomed, where they grew, which roots worked best in different seasons. They learned that bitterness often meant medicine, that certain scents calmed people down, that some textures signaled danger. This knowledge got passed down, grandmother to mother to daughter. An elder describing how a flower's color changed when it was ready to harvest. Forgetting a remedy could mean losing someone you loved. So healing knowledge became sacred. Not because of religion, but because the stakes were that high. People treated certain plants with care, stored them properly, burned others to create protective smoke. The line between practical medicine and ritual blurred, but not out of confusion, out of respect for what actually worked. Burning certain resins cleared congestion. Some smoke calmed anxiety or helped with sleep. In a world where mind and body weren't separate concepts, this mattered. Sage, pine, cedar, sweetgrass. These weren't mystical. They were practical. They did things, and because they did things, they became part of ritual. Each generation added techniques. Chew leaves directly. Steep flowers in water for tea. Even fermentation, which started as spoiled food, turned into medicine. Drinks that dulled pain or warmed you on cold nights. Different regions had different plants, but the method was universal. Taste it, smell it, touch it, watch what happens. A wound needed honey. A fever needed willow bark and cooling leaves. Stomach problems needed mint-like plants or roots from near water. Here's the surprising part. They were accurate. Archaeologists find herb remnants in Neolithic settlements, plants we still use medicinally today. Burial sites contain pain relievers, anti-inflammatories, infection treatments, placed deliberately with the dead. Without labs or textbooks, humans map nature's pharmacy through trial and error. Survival stories became cultural stories. A community that weathered an outbreak remembered how. Remedies got passed down through families. They influenced what people ate, where they traded, who held status. Regions became known for specific plants. Trade routes formed, not just for food, but for medicine. A mountain plant might travel across plains, packed in dry grass. Seeds became diplomatic gifts. Medicine connected communities before roads did. People never stopped experimenting. They had to. A poisonous vine that killed someone might teach survivors that the leaves were deadly, but the boiled roots could sedate. A hallucinogenic flower might work as medicine in tiny doses. Every plant told a story through the body. Bitterness meant power. Willow bark, sharp roots, resins, that bite signaled medicine. Aromatic plants repelled insects, opened airways. Sticky resin sealed wounds. Relief meant keep using it. Nausea meant stop. Experienced gatherers could judge a plant by its color, its veins, the season. No chemistry degree. Just observation, repeated over lifetimes. Every remedy had a story attached. The grandmother who knew which bark saved lives. The young gatherer who misidentified a plant and someone died. Knowledge was precious because it was fragile. Because people died when you got it wrong. That's why oral tradition became critical. Songs encoded where plants grew and how to prepare them. Stories about transformed hunters actually contained preparation instructions. If you wrapped information in narrative, people remembered it. And memory meant survival. Using plants as medicine required constant attention. Watching for tiny changes in weather, soil, growth. Nature was generous and dangerous, patterned and unpredictable. Healing wasn't about controlling nature. It was about listening to it. Modern medicine traces back to these experiments. Aspirin comes from willow bark. Antiseptics from honey and garlic. Aromatherapy from burning resins. The idea of isolating active compounds started with noticing that crushing or boiling plants release their power. Those early healers, mostly nameless now, weren't primitive. They were empirical. Scientists without the word science. Doctors without degrees. Their lab was the forest. Their method was patience. Their data was staying alive. We're still doing what they did. Every time we take medicine, we're echoing those first experiments with willow bark and honey. It took generations to trust a single plant. There were countless failures, lives lost and saved because someone was willing to try. But for now, come back to the firelight. The child's fever breaks by morning. His mother holds him, thanking the woman who mixed bark and honey. Not praying to gods, but grateful to another human who took a risk. She doesn't have a word for medicine yet, but she's learned something. Nature can be kind if you pay attention. That belief is where everything starts. Thank you for watching our media. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing. It helps us keep exploring the hidden history of healing and the human spirit. Stay curious, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next chapter.